We're talking today about adoration, right?
That's right.
What are we?
Adoration.
Let's start by defining our terms. What is adoration?
What is adoration?
Adoration, in the simplest terms, is sitting in the presence of Jesus. So we can worship God in many ways. We can go to Mass, we can pray, we can read the Bible. All of these are forms of worship. But when we talk about adoration or going to adoration, we usually mean that the Blessed Sacrament is exposed on the altar and we are sitting in the presence of Jesus.
Yeah, so adoration really has to have a good foundation on the true presence. Because if you don't believe in the true presence, that the bread is really Jesus's flesh and the wine is really Jesus's blood, then when you go to adoration, you're kind of only adoring a piece of bread, which would be silly.
Yeah. It reminds me of Flannery O'Connor, who was a 20th century author, writer of short stories. And she once went to a dinner party, and there was a woman there who was a former Catholic, or that's how she identified herself. And she said, I really do think that the Eucharist is a powerful symbol. And Flannery O'Connor, who was a devout Catholic, said, well, if it's only a symbol, then to hell with it. And that, I think, really explains in a bit of a stark way what we mean by the true presence. If we think of the Eucharist as a symbol, sitting in front of it and worshiping this piece of bread is idolatry. And
then we all would be in grave sin because it's directly against God and his commandments. So adoration definitely is something where we go and we sit in the presence of God, and God wants us to be there. He wants to talk to us. He wants to listen to us, and he wants us to all know that we have the grace to do that. We all individually have the ability to go to adoration. You don't need to be the Holy of Holies. You can be someone who is really struggling with their faith, and believe it or not, going and spending time in front of the host there in the monstrance is going to allow you to maybe discover deeper things about yourself. So why do you go to adoration?
For me, it gets rid of all the distractions. When you go and you sit in a quiet church, even if it's not that quiet, but you go and Jesus is present there in front of you, being physical beings as human beings, we need physical reminders. It's hard to have a relationship with somebody that you never get to see, right? Or a relationship with someone you never talk to. You need to be building that relationship, and that's the easiest way for me to do it. I tend to get very distracted saying prayers at home, or someone comes in, a little one comes in and needs something, and I get distracted and I lose my train of thought. But when you're sitting there and you can actually gaze upon the Eucharist, it reminds you of what you're doing and why you're there.
Yeah, I go to adoration as much as I possibly can because it really helps me be able to talk to God and have something, his true presence in the Eucharist, to focus and meditate on it, to open myself up. And, when I said that God wants to have us there, which is true, and he wants us to converse with him and how he speaks to us, a personal story, how he will speak to me. It's not with a booming voice, which would be awesome, but it would also mean I might need to see a psychiatrist. He does it in a very gentle way because God is love and he's gentle. And he oftentimes to me just makes me think about just hugging, someone who I love, my dad, my mom. It's just an embrace. It's an embrace, and where he wants to continually tell me that he loves me, he forgives me, and that it really helps tie up loose ends in ways that I can't really, verbalize. But
it's like a spiritual recharge.
It is,
right?
It is, and it's really coming with the glass completely empty and allowing his graces to just fill that glass up. And it is true that he wants to put in us fountains of living water where we will never thirst anymore. And so we offer a challenge to the parish, to people who are interested in wanting to take this challenge.
Especially if you've never been before.
We challenge you to come when there's adoration on the first Saturday. to come and just spend 5 minutes. And if you've never been to adoration, 5 minutes is not asking for a whole lot of your time, but come and 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 and, and give
Spend 5 minutes in
spend
the
five
presence
minutes
of God and see what happens.
and see what happens.
That's our challenge.
And hopefully, maybe you can communicate some way with the parish, with Father or with us directly, that we would love to be able to hear some stories about your experiences too at adoration.
Yeah, so thank you.
So thank you.